Howdy folks, Kirk and Jason here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today we're going to show you how we fix some peeling lime finish. I've already done this here because it was kind of time consuming. This is how we do it, guys. You can repeat what we do or come up with your own methods, but we've been doing methods for 40 years. So I've already burned out these two soldiers. These guys are done. That means I've ruined the blades on them, so I'm going with my third guy. And this is Structolite. Structolite is from the 1800s to about 1950. Then sheetrock took over. Okay, what happens with Structolite and the white finish, we call this a white finish, but today they call it lime finish. It's made of lime, guys. But when it separates, it's because of moisture, water. And I want to answer a question. A lot of people say, how come you can't use it outside? Well, okay, it rained, it went through the roof, it hit on this Structolite, and it separated the white finish or the lime finish. Here's what I do, guys. I came in and I said, okay, I scored everything and used a trowel to get it off. So listen, you can hear that. So I'm looking at it, and if I hear a hollow sound, that means it's loose. So we want to go way beyond where it's loose, guys. And this is a brand new blade, and I'm going to take it a little far beyond where it's loose. Now I'm pushing about 15 to 30 pounds of pressure. Why? Because I can't score this. That's concrete. I mean, that's like volcanic ash. It's really, really tough. That's why they use it for police stations, volleyball courts. It's strong stuff. So I'm taking it to here, and a lot of pressure. It falls off. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to kind of scratch it. And this is just our method, guys. So I'm taking it here. Why I take it here? Well, if I was touching this and it was loose, we'd have to follow it. But I think I've got it. Now what we do is we kind of scratch the surface. I'm taking it here and I'm scratching the surface. Because when I do a lime finish, I generally put a coat and then a coat over it so I can see both coats. So it's an old house, guys. It's an old house, and it's typical. Just a couple weeks ago, I was looking at a job outside, and the guy said, how come it's all coming off? I said, because they use an interior finish. He said, well, it looked good for a couple years. That's about right, guys. It'll look good until it gets rained on. So stucco's for exteriors. Plastering, whether or not it's lime plaster, Structolite, whether it's any of the taping muds or joint compounds or the lime plaster here, it's not supposed to get wet. Anyway, so what we've done is, this is the next phase, guys. We took a wet wash rag and I wiped it all down because I want to remove all the dust. So I got a little dust here too. So the next time you see me, Jason's going to mix me up some lime finish. They call it Dime or Imperial here in the U.S. But what it is, it's crushed rock. They crush it, they heat it up, and then we apply it. And guess what? When it gets hard, it turns right back into lime. So you're not going to be sticking thumbtacks through it. This stuff is probably taping mud. Anyway, so now that I've got it where we want it, we're going to go ahead, clean this, and I'm going to finish gluing it. When I say glue, I mean a bonding agent. What kind of bonding agent can you guys use? You could use whatever you want, but I'm using this Larson's Plaster Weld. Why? It's pink. I can see it. Larson's also makes an exterior blue. You can use the exterior blue too, but you can't use the pink outside because it's an interior one. Anyway, Jay's going to mix me up some diamond, and I'll show you how we repair this. All right, guys, this is how we do it. Look at that. Isn't that something? Anyway, this is lime plaster. It comes in a powder these days. It used to come in putties, but anyway, it comes in a powder. You just add water. Now, what I see here is a 16th to 1/8 of an inch. In some areas, I see a quarter. Welcome to applying by hand, guys. It's just eyeball. So what we do is we put the first coat on. I like using this big old swimming pool trowel because it's less lines. Can I use a square trowel? Oh yeah, I could use a square trowel. I'm trying to do this without having to move this ladder. Okay, so I'm using my guidelines. What's the guideline? Well, from this point to this point, I'm trying to do it as pretty as possible the first time. If you do it as pretty as possible, guys, you won't have to keep repeating it. So there, come back, there, hit it. Now, let's see, okay, get off the ladder. See how stiff that is, guys. And that's okay, whether it's a little runny, a little stiff, we'll make it work. Putting it on, going right to the joint, and feathering it in. Right here, feathering it in. And again, guys, don't use this material outside because if it rains, it's going to come off. You could use it for kitchens, bathrooms, anywhere like, say, atriums, anywhere where there's a little moisture, but not in showers either. A lot of people call me and say, Kirk, can I use that in my shower? Like, why would you want to do that? Use tile in your shower. Don't use any kind of muds, guys. I know I got caught up in that many years ago using plasters in the tile in the shower. They don't work, guys. None of them work. You end up with mold. Anyhow, so just showing you how we do this. I'm laughing because every time I think of this, I think of that one guy. He says, well, how can they use it? And I thought, now how am I supposed to answer that? I don't even know who these people were. They used it on the outside. And he said, well, how do you know it's lime finish? I said, because there's hardly no aggregate. What is aggregate? Fine silica sand. But I know the difference between fine silica sand and, say, La Habra exterior finishes. So that's how I knew it was this that they use on the outside. And it all came off. So if your ceiling gets wet, it's going to come off. And if it's mixed well, it'll be like butter putting it on, or whipping cream. If it's not mixed well, mix it on the wall, guys. That just means it'll have a few clumps, a few rocks, and you just mix it on the wall. Take your trowel, go over it. So now with this particular stuff, once it's on, once it starts to darken, that means it's setting. And when it starts to set, you can play with it with water to get it hard as a rock and get all the flaws out. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put this last little bit on right here. And yet, we pulled off a little bit more than I expected, but the wall or the ceiling dictates how much we pull off, not us. If I'm working it and I say, well, gee, I didn't expect that, it's loose, it got to come off. So it dictates everything we do, the wall itself. Anyhow, now that I got this done right here, I'm going to give this about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to water float it. That just means I take my water, put it on there, and I use my trowel, and I make it pretty. Can I do it without the water? Of course I can. All right, guys, with diamond or any of these interior plastering, we make it as smooth as a baby's butt. So what we do, we put a little bit of water on the edges, a little bit of water on this edge. Sometimes I have a big fat brush. I can wet the whole thing at once. Or I'll have a, what do we call those? Pump-up tank, and you just spray the water on. Anyhow, this is what we do now. These finishes are always smoother than this, but for the sake, since I got water on here, I'm going to get on it. Okay, we take it. Well, there's water on here now. So now we bring it back to life a little bit. And why do we bring it back to life? To get every little detail out. We get all the details out and make it really pretty. All the trowel lines we want out of it. Okay. Now, I'll show you guys something. The folks say, well, Jay, can you make it look like this? And I said, no, we cannot. And why? It's an orange peel look, and it's done with the paint. So what you guys do, if you see this orange peel look, it is done with a roller, the nap it's called, and get an 1.5 inch nap roller. That's a big fat roller. They're like about $10 or more. And when you apply your primer and paint, it gives this orange peel look, because ours is going to be smooth. Anyway, we're almost done with this, but I thought I'd point that out. I'm going to wet the rest of this. Wet it, and all this does is bring it back to life, just in case there's some inconsistencies or lines. Anyhow, guys, my name is Kirk. Jason's on the camera. We thank you for watching, and as usual, we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, folks, we want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoy the videos that we put out, please like and subscribe so that we can keep making these videos for everybody. And as always, from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.